Welcome back, New World Fantasy Football, episode 8, with my co-host Paulie Kiefarelli. How you doing, man?
What's up, Cheese?
What up, man? What up? Man, so I like it. Rocking your Cardinals shirt. How have they done
Opening
so far?
day, baby.
Yeah, what? Two games in so far?
1-1. I normally don't even care about the record until they're about 30 games in or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see how the season goes. Some exciting young hitters. Still got Goldie and Arenado, and not a lot of pitching. So that's my little brief 15-second scouting report for you. How the Yankees looking?
Also 1-1, but I'm excited because they've got a exciting young prospect on that team, Anthony Volpe, who
I've heard of him.
Already drawing comparisons to Jeter because he plays shortstop and he's pretty young. But no, I mean he's got in 2 games, he's already got 2 stolen bases. Got a hit.
Dude, everybody's getting stolen bases now with the rule change and the pitch clock and all that. Well, what are your thoughts on that, actually? I have not talked to you on a personal level about that.
Yeah, real quick. I will say I'm liking a lot of the rule changes. It's obviously the pace is better from exactly what they intended. And, I think it's just been a very genius move to make baseball more exciting. That's it. Just make it more exciting. More points, runs scored, incentivizing players to run. There actually some of the rules too are incentivizing teams to not necessarily sit on their prospects as much and bring them up. It's like something to do with getting compensated with draft picks if they bring their prospects up earlier or starting the year. So it's younger prospects.
I think it's the answer to what a lot of teams were doing, where they were waiting a certain amount of time to bring up was it Chris Bryant?
Chris Bryant,
years ago?
Yeah. They were like, we're only going to bring you up at this time so we don't have to pay you as much and get team control.
It pushed out the arbitration year, so it stops that. Yes, overall a positive thing. I'm pumped about it. I watched a game that was 2.5 hours. I'm like, holy shit. There really was 45 minutes of nothing in these games. And there's some problems with it, right? I do like throwing over to first to stop the runner. You have limitations in how much you can do that. It is easier to steal bases now. So I think that for the entirety of the regular season, it's a good thing. I'm a little concerned about what it does to some of the drama and that buildup that happens in postseason baseball or the high leverage games that will happen. I just cannot wait. I cannot wait till Game 5 of the first series, tied 2-2. Arenado's at the plate, 2 on, 2 outs, a fully juiced count, and clock violation. Go home, folks. Game over. That's it.
So Arenado, so that you're assuming that Arenado's getting traded to the Yankees then, right?
I'm assuming the Cardinals get in.
Good luck with that.
They're going to win their division.
Nah, man. Pittsburgh coming.
Pittsburgh?
No, the Cubs.
Pittsburgh?
The Cubs. But, yeah, man, overall, I think it's positive. There's a few drawbacks I think they're going to have to iron out. I'm happy. I do not ever want to see robot umps. I really don't want to see that. I think that would be really sad.
It's not as good, I think, as people think it is that don't watch a lot of baseball, because there is a science and an art to the strike zone. So the science would be completely taken care of by lasers, robots, whatever you want to call it. But there's an art to it. It does depend on the batter to some degree, who's standing up there. And, an umpire will establish a zone across the game. And if they're consistent with that, even if it's not the perfect strike zone, then it's the right strike zone for that game. You kind of learn it throughout the game. That is part of the strategy of baseball. It doesn't really bother me. balls and strikes. People always want to argue. I like to see the manager coming out and screaming at an ump every once in a while. Like that's actually a fun part of the game for me. You can't really yell at a robot.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of yell at technology sometimes, but they don't care. Or they have some, like Siri might have some smart remark for us, and that's about it. All you're gonna get. It's not satisfying. You know, when you go out for an altercation, you're really hoping that somebody's gonna yell right back at you, you know, and make it fun. But
well, with ChatGPT and everything else and the AI, we might really get to like truly AI umps that will have like perfect comebacks for us. Like, you know, you're screaming at the ump, like it's like you're blind, you suck, and it's like they just know some crazy detail about your life that you didn't even know. It's like
they Facebook scan you real quick, Instagram scan you real quick, and there you go. Like, and it's like it'll be some like real personal stuff, like morning grandma today's like, what does your dead grandma think about that? You know what I mean? Like, oh man, then you will see some robots starting to get destroyed. What I'm really hoping though is that we have enough episodes and data so that machine learning can just do the episodes for us. Just post it every week.
100%, man. I would find it hilarious if we had AI on a loop, like trying to use our stupid conversations to actually make a logical conversation. I think that would be both really bad and also very entertaining.
There's this YouTube channel. I don't remember what it's called, but he did a machine learning he has a whole series of sitcoms, and it's mostly based off Seinfeld. It's so weird.
The Forever Seinfeld on a loop. I've seen that.
You've
it's
seen
terrible.
That? Nothing Forever or something like that,
terrible.
or Forever Nothing. It's weird, but it's like, wow, that is from an AI, you know?
Yes.
So anyways, this is about football, right?
Yeah, we you want to start talking some football?
I guess we can do that. So yeah, man,
It's been
some
a little
rumors, news, some mix of the two. At first, though, I do want to make a shout out to our sponsor. It's called Blackjack Breaks.
I haven't seen a dime yet.
Well, you won't. But it's called Blackjack Breaks. It is a Facebook group where they open packs, football cards. And my cousin's an admin on there. He breaks open packs and things like that. Pretty cool. Find some pretty cool cards. I mean, he's just showed me the other day. He found some like Russell Wilson card, which you might think is not worth much right now. But no, it's actually worth a good amount of money. It's like holographic and stuff. I probably put a picture of it. He got a signed LT, the real LT, Lawrence Taylor card in there. And he finds lots of good cards, and it's pretty cool. So go check it out if you're into card trading and things like that. So with that, Paul, what do you want to talk about?
So yeah, I figured we could just run down some of the news we missed. It's been a couple weeks in between just some life, right? You know, life getting in the way. I came down with being sick for a little bit, and I know you had some stuff going on. So really just some kind of basic free agency, and we had some pro days after the combine, which, you know, we'll get into like what I think about the value of pro days and just kind of wrap up on stuff. And then we did have one development in the NFL where they decided that it was a good idea to double down on Thursday Night Football. And
Thursday
spoiler
night football,
alerts.
ready for the game. Thursday night football. I hope it doesn't rain. Thursday night football really fucking sucks. Thursday night football. Don't watch this shit. Okay, I'm done.
That was incredible. Did AI write that too?
The AI of my brain wrote that.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about Bezos' ball, but we'll get into that later. Let's wrap up some news, brother. What's the first thing that you noticed that stuck out to you?
News-wise? Gosh, really a big nothing burger of why is Aaron Rodgers still like officially a Packer and not a Jet?
They have to be waiting till after the draft, right?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like wouldn't they want to get that secured so that they can like make their decisions in the draft, maybe somewhat based on that? I know neither team is really positioned to draft a QB, but the Packers drafted their QB, what, 3-4 years ago now, Jordan Love? And the Jets drafted their quarterback 2 years ago, Zach Wilson, who they don't want to be their quarterback anymore.
They drafted a quarterback. They did not draft their quarterback.
Yeah. Well, that stands out to me a little bit. And then it's really the non-signings, the big names. Like, okay, so that trade hasn't happened. And then if Odell is still so good, why is he not signed?
Because he's not still so good.
He's not. He's more name than game, and guess he probably wants way too much for being often injured and major injuries to his knees, ankles. He's got more ACL tears than spectacular catches in the NFL at this point. So, like, can we please get over Odell? Like, I don't know. I thank him for his time with the Giants. He was phenomenal. I wish it would have worked out.
Zeke's another one to me. I know that maybe you differ on this, but Zeke is another more name than game. Like, he's looked cooked for the last 2 seasons at least. I would even maybe say 3 seasons, but even 2 years is a long time in the NFL. And will he catch on with a team? Probably. Do I care from a fantasy football perspective? The only thing I really care about for where Zeke goes is the touchdown vulturing that he will eventually do for the actual running back on that team. That's really the way I feel with Zeke. I don't know what your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Zeke is a serviceable short yardage back, and he's still a good blocker. So he's useful to a team, which means he'll get carries. And yeah, he's not going to be the, first, second round, even third round draft pick anymore. And maybe he's, an 8th, 9th round pick with quote unquote upside because he lands on a certain team, and he's going to muddy up a backfield right away. That's my thing. I do not think he's going to be signed to be a workhorse. I don't see an NFL team being like, man, Zeke can really be our, 25 to 30 touches a game kind of guy. It's like, give him 10 touches a game and he's valuable. And yes, the vulturing, if he's on a good offense, will be a real thing. And you'll toy with them, not you specifically, but us as a fantasy community will mess around with them and pick them up in the wrong weeks and start them on the wrong weeks and then drop them, and then he'll score 3 touchdowns. So yeah, it's going to be one of those situations.
Yes, an annoying back.
Yeah, who was the guy for the Jags back in the day? He was on to Michael LaShore. Remember Michael LaShore? Is it?
The name sounds familiar. It's
I want to say he played for Detroit for a bit, and I don't know. I just remember specifically starting him 3 weeks, dropping him, an opponent picking him up, and him scoring 3 touchdowns. I can certainly see that being the case for Zeke.
When it comes to running backs in the NFL, life comes at you fast.
Yeah.
Zeke, bona fide first 2-round guy for many years. And then, you hit a certain threshold. He's actually had good longevity, and he's had like really good durability throughout his career. But Dallas is the ultimate cautionary tale. You don't pay running backs big money because once they hit, you don't know when that carry number is going to be. Once they hit a certain number of carries, they look like a completely different guy. So that's the kind of thing to always pay attention and look at there.
Yeah. If you're talking like dynasty leagues, it's like, all right, once an NFL or the running back is getting to their second contract, assuming they didn't come out super young, like 20 years old, and they're like, maybe they're
Yeah.
only 24 going into their second contract, maybe 25. If they're 28 going into their second contract, that's when they say it's time to start. Like the Derrick Henry owners in dynasty leagues are like, let me trade him. Let me see if I can get a little something back for him. And it's like, it's weird because you're like, well, Derrick Henry is still projected to be probably a top 5, at least top 5 pick in redraft leagues, but he's a trade candidate for a lot of dynasty owners.
And dynasty, so dynasty is actually better for that because then in dynasty, you know what you're getting into, right? The team that's trading for Derrick Henry knows this is it. My team's locked and loaded. I'm trying to win this year. The team trading away Derrick Henry is saying, I want some draft capital. So it feels like the actual NFL. A guy like Derrick Henry in a redraft league is just both exciting and terrifying every year we're drafting him. Because it's exciting because Derrick Henry is different. He's an animal. He's a touchdown machine. But terrifying because you've already been holding that hot potato way too long. Like you're 2 years overdue. But I digress. Another piece of news. The Jets giving up on a prospect too early this time. Elijah Moore going to the Browns. How are we feeling about that?
I feel that's one of those behind the curtain situation where, similarly to the Giants with Kadarius Toney, it was like, you're talented, but you're a douchebag, and we don't want you here. Like, that's what it seems like to me. Like, Elijah Moore kind of bailed on the team way earlier than he needed to. And then, because it's not like Garrett Wilson didn't have a great year on the same team, but Elijah Moore is like butthurt that, I don't know, whatever. The offense wasn't the way he wanted it to be. I don't know. Maybe he needed 15 targets a game. I'm not sure. He's got talent. He's going to.
I'd be butthurt if I had Zach Wilson throwing to me.
Yeah, it's hard not to be. But then Mike White and Chris Drevler, who played that one game, came in. I think it was it Thursday night? I think it was a Thursday night. I don't know. But anyways, like some other players were able to be somewhat successful with that revolving QB going on in the other New York. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it was like that. But I think that Elijah Moore now, he's hopefully getting a good fresh start with the Browns. I'm interested in that because Amari Cooper is their number 1. And Donovan Peoples-Jones was starting to kind of catch on. So how does that infusion of Elijah Moore to this Browns offense, like, I'm interested to see how that's all going to gel together. And then obviously you have kind of a wild card with Deshaun Watson of, is he going to get back to his former quarterback self? Probably not, but probably going to be better. He's got to be better than he was last year. I really hope so. But he was rusty last year. So.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting question because that's the question we always have to ask ourselves, right? You might be interested. I'm interested to see what happens with all of these moving players, but you're not going to have an answer by the time you're drafting. So do you think going into this season that Nasty Man 4 is going to be able to support 2 startable fantasy receivers?
Yeah. And one of them's name's David Njoku. So we kind of forget about David Njoku because he's often injured too.
Yeah.
When he was drafted, NFL draft, I wanted him instead of Evan Ingram. I didn't know who Evan Ingram was, to be honest.
Evan Ingram's doing fine now.
Yeah, he's doing okay, I guess. And that's great. But David Njoku is very talented. He's very athletic, got good hands. I think, yeah, Amari Cooper and David Njoku are the main targets there. So let's talk like ADPs, right? Who's the higher ADP then? I'm going to guess it's going to end up being Elijah Moore over Donovan Peoples-Jones because he didn't really get enough. He had some solid games, DPJ, but not enough to make people be like, he's a sleeper. I need to get that guy. I don't think he's gotten to that level. And maybe the Browns don't feel that way either because they just traded for a receiver.
Yeah, I think they took advantage of a very weird situation. It's really unusual for teams to give up on a young player who's shown a lot of promise and shown flashes when they're still under team control on a low contract. So, yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you that is probably a behind-the-scenes thing, probably is a culture fit thing. So hopefully he just likes it better in Cleveland. And, yeah, to answer your question more directly, I would draft Elijah Moore higher than DPJ, even though DPJ is more proven in that offense. I think we know what DPJ is, field stretcher, right? He's going to be a little bit boom or bust in terms of his fantasy production. If Elijah Moore shows us close to what he was showing us during the back half of his rookie year, I believe, then I think that you got to take a chance on that guy versus DPJ. A nice player, but I think we've kind of seen what his projected ceiling is.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I do think that he will be taken ahead because ultimately, talent usually wins out unless there's just such a glaring like character issue that you just can't work with somebody.
So,
but
Miles Sanders heading to Carolina.
I love that. I think that's going to be great. Miles Sanders, he's a good player. The running back market just, tanked completely. And he got signed for it was a 4-year deal though. I don't remember what the guaranteed money was. Like 12 million, 14 million. I don't know.
What do you think his role is? Because Dante Foreman showed that at least in the system that they were running last year, they were hammering runs up the middle, basically just trying to break away some big runs, which they were able to do from time to time, and get Foreman running with a head of steam. How do you think Miles fits into that system, and what do you think like his actual fantasy value would be? Apologies, my dog's drinking water out here, so
you're good. I can barely hear that. So like for fantasy value, yeah, I think they signed him to be their starter. I'm pretty sure Donta Foreman is on the Bears. I think he got signed to the Bears, something like that.
I didn't see that. I didn't know that. That's my bad. Is Chuba still there though?
I think he is. We should probably know this stuff, instead of looking it up like as we go.
Pre-meeting prep.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, some combo of those guys, but yeah, I think.
Okay, never mind. I am excited now. I'm excited.
Yeah, he's gonna be their touchdown guy. He should be. And we'll see who they draft, like quarterback wise, but I mean, they got the number 1 overall pick. Are they gonna take Anthony Richardson? Like, I kind of doubt it. So maybe if it's Bryce
that's
Young,
CJ. That's CJ to me.
You think it's CJ? I still think it's Bryce. But either way, I don't see either of those guys being like a Jalen Hurts, where it's going to be he's getting that 1-yard touchdown and every time. And Miles Sanders had a good year for the Eagles behind like the best O-line in football, but even then he still got vultured so many times. Carolina's not the same offense, but the way that they've put that team together already, and then an upgrade at QB, even if they're not great right away, I think they're going to rely on their running game. So you're still going to see a lot of Chuba, but you're going to see a lot more Miles Sanders. Maybe you get like a 65-35 split kind of deal, even a 60-40 split. And Miles Sanders, the only thing about Miles Sanders is he's not proven to be a pass catcher at all. Does that bother somebody? I'm sure it caps the upside, but if he's a short yardage, honestly, just say short yardage, but goal line guy for the Panthers, I think they'll be decent enough on offense that he'll have a nice year. I think maybe he's a back of the third, or back of the second, early third rounder in this year's fantasy draft.
I'm with you, and I think that it's a pretty easy formula that, okay, efficiency is going to go down because I don't project Carolina to be a great offense this year. Rookie quarterback, whoever that is, probably is not going to be running the NFL's kind of highest scoring, high efficiency offense. But I do think his volume is going to come up to meet that because the volume wasn't always consistent.
It was sporadic.
Philly, so I think that volume comes up, but here's my concern with that volume, right? We have a player that has had some issues with injuries in the past. One more season on the body. I think it's going to come down to ADP for me. If the excitement around him drives his draft stock, like you said, to the third round, that might be a little rich for my blood, to be completely honest with you. But if I can get him in what is typically the running back dead zone that we hear about, if I can get him, if I can get him in that area, and maybe I went with a receiver heavy build, maybe I'm just grabbing an extra running back, to have in my stable, I'd be fine with that. But if I'm relying on this guy as an RB2 for an entire season, I'd be a little concerned.
I'm going to have to sort of go ahead and disagree with you there. I'm fine with him as an RB2. I think he'll have the volume and the touchdowns to support an RB2 role. I'm fine with it. Yeah, third round, okay, I can see where somebody might be a little squeamish third round. But a lot of it's like many players, besides the really solidified ones, preseason it's going to have a lot of bearing on where if he rises 10 to 20 spots or falls or whatever. And it's going to be, does he get in the end zone a few times in the preseason? Probably not. They're probably not going to run him much in the preseason. And I don't know. A lot of it's going to be preseason hype and what other players start rising where they rise too much.
Right.
There's too much yeast in there. So
we'll see. Or some players fall like crazy that shouldn't be falling like crazy. What do you think this means for Philly? Do you think that they are a possible Bijan Robinson grab, or do you think that they feel confident enough with Kenny G and Boston Scott and their stable of running backs they've been running around, besides their best running back?
As much as Jalen Hurts. As much as I can't stand the Eagles, they're a well-oiled machine over there. You're going to have to remind me of their GM's name. Howie Roseman. Roseman, yeah. He seems to know positional value very well. And they have such a good roster. They're a wild card in the draft because they're not going to have to really draft for need, if you ask me. They're going to be able to draft best player available. It just depends. How much is he going to value somebody like Bijan? I am guessing not all that much. I'm assuming they're going to just reinforce their trenches and maybe their secondary early on and be fine with Gainwell and Boston Scott because they've proven to be effective enough. And how much do they really need, a high capital running back where whatever the 10th overall pick is going to be, they're going to get paid a certain amount that's like more than your running back. They want to pay a running back. So this is actually contradictive of my mock draft I did about a month or so ago, where I picked Bijan Robinson for them, but I have changed my tune on that. And I think Bijan will fall a little bit just because he's a running back. So I think it's going to be some combo of Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, and whatever running back they draft in the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah, or a day 2 pick, maybe something like that. So I'm with you. And Jason Kelce just won't die. Like I literally assumed he was retired because he's been talking about it every year, and I just looked it up, and he's coming back. So their offensive line is going to stay pretty good.
Love hearing that. So happy that Jason Kelce's coming back. Just love him. He's a great guy.
He is a good guy. You can't like you can.
I said that he is a great guy. He's a great
still
guy.
Appreciate Kelce.
That's what I said. He's a great guy. I love him. He's awesome. He plays for the fucking Eagles.
Great pod content.
Thanks, Brandon Cooks.
Awesome. We did we talk about Brandon? We did not talk about Brandon Cooks. We talked about Brandon Cooks off the air. Apologies. Let's get into Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks, man. Brandon Cooks. The best player you don't want on your fantasy team.
He's the best player that nobody wants on their team for more than one season. This is what, 6 teams, 7 teams for him now?
He's been on such a tour of the United States. I mean, he's staying in Texas though, so he's just going to like a few hours in Texas, but for this time. But man, who even drafted him? The Saints? I want to say he was drafted by the Saints.
It was the Saints. That's the longest tenure he's had.
Yeah. It's naturally his first contract or his rookie contract. But Brandon Cooks, I think is going to fill a very important role for Dallas. He's going to be he's always going to be a field stretcher. He's got speed. But he's not a useless field stretcher. No field stretcher is useless. They're doing their job. If they're just running down the field fast, they are doing something. But he's a capable receiver.
Team.
The all cardio, yeah. He is a capable receiver. Corners struggle with his speed. There always will. He's a good player. So
good route runner.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas was relying on a washed up T.Y. Hilton last year, later down the stretch of the season. And they got a better field stretcher. And their offense got exactly what they needed with Brandon Cooks. So is he going to be great for fantasy? No. He's going to have 4 good games, and the rest of the time he's going to piss you off. So he's a DFS. He's a great DFS shot, and if you play him in your flex spot at the right time, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, this is an offense in terms of the pass catchers that is still centered around CeeDee Lamb. I really like CeeDee a lot. I think we've had multiple conversations about him, and they've really struggled to fit in true number 2 receiver. And I don't even know if Brandon Cooks really accomplishes being a true number 2 receiver, but between him, Gallup, and the stable of pass catchers that they project to have, like Dak once again is going to have all the weapons available to him that he can have, and will be fine in the regular season and choke in the playoffs. But we're fantasy football players, so we only care about the regular season. So I think it's a plus. Dallas gets a boost to their offense, in my opinion.
I agree, and we'll see. Maybe we got a little bit of a sleeper pick with their tight end Jake Ferguson. So we shall see. But Brandon Cooks, in terms of where he's going in redraft leagues, I'd probably put him at like 7th, 8th round. I'm thinking that's where he'll go. He's still got big play potential, and Dallas should be a good offense. So I think he'll be all right. Just he's going to be what he is. He's a boomer bust kind of guy. He'll have a game where he has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then he'll have a few games where he has 4 for 22. You know?
Yeah. So I think we should take a quick minute just to acknowledge the pro day stuff, because I know that's kind of going around. A lot of people talk about it, and every time like I update that Twitter feed and the news feed, like I get a bunch of stuff showing me the pro days. I did watch it. I watched both. I should say I watched Levis and AR, because I think those are kind of the realistic quarterbacks that my team could get.
Yeah.
And
meaning the Colts, not the Bucks.
Yes. I know that I have to qualify that answer. You're right. It didn't really tell me much, I guess, that I didn't already know, but I guess that's pretty typical for pro days. The thing that really kind of got me, and I'll let you kind of jump in here too, is Richardson's arm is impressive because he doesn't really use his bottom half, which is that's a good thing and a bad thing. It shows like, okay, you have this crazy strength that you're able to generate off platform, because he never throws on platform, or doesn't seem to be. Like, he doesn't really have good footwork when he's throwing. But it is impressive to see what he's able to do like off platform, which is why it's like such an intriguing prospect, but such a scary prospect, because it's like all of the things that they want you to do off schedule and all the things that they want you to do to make big plays out of nothing, he has that already. But the basic throws in the NFL, the middle throws, everything that's like 15 yards and in, I didn't love it. I didn't love what I saw. He was connecting with the receiver, throwing on air, which is fine, but it wasn't with great accuracy. It wasn't with great touch. It was either a rocket or a duck, in my opinion. So I don't know if you saw something different. I can get into Levis's stuff too, but I'll let you kind of jump in here.
Yeah, we'll stick with AR for now. And as everybody knows, I just love Anthony Richardson. He's so good. He's going to be incredible. I can't even lie to myself. I don't think the Colts will be a good fit for him, because they need a day one starter on their team, and I just don't think he's that guy. To what you're saying,
but is Will Levis a day one starter?
I think he's
that's the scary part.
I think he's more capable to start right away, but not. Obviously, you're drafting someone who's drafted Anthony Richardson is drafting him for the Josh Allen upside, not for like help our team right now. Unless the Colts are fine with just saying, well, oh no, we suck again for 1 year, at least 1 year. But anyways, I was talking about that last podcast. So I will not going to BS anybody here. I didn't watch any of his pro day stuff or Will Levis's pro day stuff. I didn't feel the need to. I'm like, I know what these guys are about already. Yeah, he just doesn't have the consistency of motion. And one thing I will have to say is the girls at UF says he uses his lower half very well. So they might disagree with you. But yeah, I think he's just inconsistent, and he just needs coaching. He needs a lot of coaching, and he needs a lot of repetition to just become a true QB and not just the super athlete that throws the ball. That's right. That's all I think. He's an
athlete. He's an athlete playing quarterback.
I don't hate Anthony Richardson. I don't hate him. I just don't think he's a good fit for a team that needs him to be good right away. I think that could ruin his career. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and so switching gears to Levis, again, dude, I don't blame you for not watching the pro days. I didn't come away with any new answers that I didn't have before. It just kind of strengthened what I already was kind of worried about and saw. Side note, homie hit the roof on one of his throws and then tried to say that he's like, oh, I did that on purpose. I was just trying to copy Will Levis. I'm like, bro, you both hit the roof because neither of you know where that ball is going. Stop it.
Was it that
but
low?
so, like,
Was the roof that low?
no, dude, they just freaking moonshotted it.
Oh, so it was like a deep ball. They were like flinging it.
So I didn't see. Apparently, now to be fair, I will also be honest to the 5 pod listeners we have. I did not watch Will Levis's day in its entirety. I just watched the highlights. But apparently, somebody said that he threw it and it hit the roof as well. So I just find it hilarious that they supposedly both did that. But I did see Richardson hit the roof, and that was just a straight up yoke. Like he was not expecting that to happen at all. It was just trying to show off the arm, flicks it. Both have cannon arms. Levis, I can say, has a lot more repeatable of emotion. It does look a little like, I don't know,
Stiff.
he's like trying. Yeah, it's like it didn't look very smooth to me. It kind of looked like a little karate choppy, but it did look like a motion that he can repeat a lot more. But I think they both have the same issue. Literally the exact same issue, that they have this crazy rocket arm. They've got great legs. They're great athletes. They're big players. So they fit the prototype. But in the in-between game, I really was not impressed with either of their throws. It was like behind a guy a little bit. Even on the deep shots, like the receivers are throwing down. I'm like, damn, y'all are practicing that 1-on-0 stuff a lot, and you kind of still threw it behind them a little bit. Like, what's up with that? So, I guess ultimately it's the same player, except Will Levis is 2 years older, which is a little scary to me. So that's the whole feeling I have on the pro day. As a fan of a team that is most likely going to pick one of these two guys, Andrew, give me something. Give me something to feel better. Make me feel better somehow about one of these guys, that we're not just drafting a project.
I think Will Levis has, like you said earlier, has more of a repeatable motion. And, well, I'll give you the ultimate feel-good story if you're not aware already. You know who Will Levis has been talking to? He has been talking to Martha Stewart. No, I'm just kidding. He's been talking to Peyton Manning, apparently. He's been getting coaching. I don't know if it's like in-person coaching, but he's been getting some kind of advice, coaching, whatever, from Peyton Manning, which means Jim Irsay will take him. That's it. You have once sniffed Peyton Manning's jockstrap, you were getting drafted by the Colts.
That man is royalty forever in Indy.
Let's put it this way. If you need anything to make you feel better, even Anthony Richardson or Will Levis will be better day one than Sam Ehlinger.
Yeah. I mean, Smellinger was not so good.
Yeah, he's got USFL written all over him. So yeah,
the X, you think he's good enough for the XFL? Orlando Guardians.
Yeah, he could.
1-6, baby.
He can be a backup there.
All right. So does that wrap us up for kind of the news to catch us up here?
I'd say so. I mean, we can talk about some other things. I guess I can talk about this since I've just got Giants on my mind all the time. Let's start with the less exciting, but to me still somewhat exciting. And being someone who is familiar with the Colts, what do you think about Paris Campbell being signed by the Giants?
Dude, he'll look okay for like 5 games. Always hurt. And it's a bummer, man. He showed a lot of flashes, and a lot of people around the organization really liked him, but he could just never put it together for a full season. Just couldn't do it. I actually, even though he's on another team, I legit hope he does. I hope he does put it together. He is talented, so feel good about that. Like his ability is actually real. And he does a good job coming back to the ball. So, like, obviously, for the way the Giants seem to have liked their offense and running their offense, he kind of fits that mold. He's got some quick moves, but will he stay healthy? Will he sustain production for a full year? Maybe, but he hasn't done it for 5. So,
yeah. But the one thing that you're forgetting is that the Giants will never have an injury again because they changed their turf.
better turf.
Yeah.
Baltimore needs to do something about that.
I forget. There's I think it was 7. Well, I think it's 7 teams because obviously we're including the Jets with the Giants, right? It was like some different type of turf that's, I don't know, got like thicker fibers that apparently makes your cleats don't get stuck as much. I don't know. Whatever. I really hope the injuries go down for the Giants. That's been rough. And, Paris Campbell being a injury prone, he's got that tag for good reason. Now, I mean, from everything I've seen, he's got good size. He's like 6'1", 190 or so. Got speed. He's got athletic ability. Very, just a solid receiver that is injury prone. And, hey, if you got a team full of wide receiver 2s and 3s, maybe he can be the best wide receiver 2 of those guys, assuming he stays healthy. But the more important signing, or not really signing, but trade the Giants made was for Darren Waller, which, like, rank your top 5 tight ends for me right now. I know Kelsey's 1. And you don't be biased. I just want to know with that, where he falls.
Yeah, in terms of pure talent outside of situation, right? So, like, I always kind of rank based on that. So, of course, Kelsey is number 1 for me. He's on his way to being the go-to tight ends.
Yep.
To me, Kittle is number 2. He just has an injury history. Then you get into Mark Andrews. Then from that perspective, I think.
What about Kyle
from
Pitts?
A talent, no. You have to show me. You have to show me something first. I like Kyle Pitts as a prospect. Then, I think Waller slides like right in there. Dallas is great. I like him a lot too. But in terms of like receiving talent, he's right there. He's right there.
So, would you be tempted to take Kittle or Waller ahead of Kittle? Trey Lance, maybe. What's how am I forgetting it? Brock Purdy. Does that split the hair at all, or Brock Purdy seems to be better for George Kittle?
So I will reserve my judgment based on what ends up happening in Baltimore. But yeah, man, I mean, Waller could be. I just hate drafting tight ends. Like, this whole conversation just bums me out.
I know. You're just like the anti-tight end guy.
Because you're talking, it's possible. Darren Waller could be the number 2 drafted tight end next year. That is very possible to have happen. I probably personally wouldn't do it, but you're talking about somebody in the top 4 that gets injured a lot, and then you end up asked out.
Well, I already established that no Giants will ever get hurt again, so we're good on that.
Yeah, I'm sure between Saquon, Danny Jones,
Sterling Shepard,
Darren Waller, Sterling Shepard, they hope you're right. They all hope you're right.
Shit, man. At this point, might as well bring Odell back. He'll be good. But yeah, dude. That's also somebody we did touch on Odell. What am I saying?
We did touch on Odell.
So I like Waller, but I think he's kind of gonna fall in that like 3 to 4 tight end 3, tight end 4 draft wise. You're probably still gonna get Mark Andrews, number 2, maybe Kittle, who knows, but yeah, I mean, I think he's right there. Kyle Pitts will probably still get overdrafted because everyone wants to, bank on the talent and high draft capital, which is understandable. But yeah, we'll have to see. But I think it's a good fit because Daniel Jones finally has a weapon that has proven to be really, really good. And he's not relying on Darius Slayton to be his number one receiver anymore.
He needed receiving weapons. We're going to have an opportunity to see, hopefully, because I want New York to draft a receiver. So I hope that all of these added receiving options finally give us the ability to see. So I think Danny Dimes has shown that he can effectively run an NFL offense, and that's cool. But I still want to see if Daniel Jones can be that guy at quarterback. Because I'm still of the opinion that you need to have that guy.
Yeah, it makes life way easier for any franchise if you have a bona fide franchise QB, even if it's not a top 2 guy. I mean, franchise quarterback makes the biggest difference. But yeah, so I don't want to, get all into the whole just Giants thing, but yeah, I mean, did we talk about the DJ replacement? Another DJ on another team.
Yeah,
for the
DJ
Panthers.
downgrade.
The DJ downgrade. I like that.
No, we didn't. It's barely worth talking about, except just to troll Carolina. So they signed DJ Chark, and DJ Chark is who he is at this point. He is a field stretcher.
Also injury prone.
So yeah, I mean, he'll be fine. He'll be one of those guys that's going to be on the flyer radar, depending on what kind of quarterback they get and what their offense ends up looking like. And they needed somebody. They needed somebody to be able to stretch the field. So I think it's a good signing for the situation that Carolina had, that they sold out to get this number 1 quarterback. But in terms of what that does for their football team, or excuse me, what that does for fantasy, yeah, I mean it's pretty whatever. But the DJ downgrade.
Yeah, it's a bleh signing. Unfortunately, most of the free agent wide receivers were just bleh. Like Jacoby Myers being the number 2 option, presumably, now that they don't have Waller. With Jimmy G was I don't really see that being a explosive combo.
I feel like Vegas got the Sam's Club brand of everything they already had.
I saw a great meme. It was like going from Derek Carr to Jimmy G is like going from Jimmy G to Derek Carr. I was like, damn. I think Derek Carr is better than he gets credit for.
Yeah, Derek Carr gets shit on unnecessarily.
I feel that. I think he's been on a team that has had like a bottom 25 defense literally every year of his career. Like, if people look at the record,
so bad.
Well, Mike Gaycock and company just not the best at drafting. So, yeah, I mean, Cleveland Farrell, I think his name, has been kind of like a 3rd round talent, like a barely startable player. And that was like the 4th overall pick that they overdraft. Oh my man. And then who was that corner they took that has not worked out? God.
Oh, was it the one that flashed a gun?
Maybe. I forget his name now, but they drafted a corner a few years ago that has not worked out very well. I want to say his last name starts with an A. I don't remember now, but
I just remember seeing it online that I want to say that Josh Jacobs, for some crazy stretch of time, was like their only 1st round pick to either still be on the team or be starting. I don't remember exactly what it was, but literally they drafted 1 starter in the 1st round in 10 drafts or something stupid.
That's why they're always kind of a disappointing team. They've been decent enough to be middle of the pack and
I like the Saints. I like the Saints with Carr. That's what I'm trying to say with all this. I think Carr is better than Jimmy G. Jimmy G has had the like red carpet rolled out for him in terms of like the NFL personnel and coaching around him.
Yeah.
He is going to crater in Vegas. Vegas is on a fast track to picking a quarterback in the top 3 next year with Jimmy G.
Yeah. Yeah, I am of the mind that Raiders fans who are excited about Jimmy G, which there's got to be some.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly like running over to like
it's probably the same dumbasses in Tampa that are excited about Baker Mayfield too.
Well, we'll talk about that next. Actually, that's a great topic. But yes, Jimmy G, I think that Jimmy G is a below average quarterback. He's kind of like a fringe starter to me. I think he is like if Teddy Bridgewater was in a better situation his whole career. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's always going to be helpful to have Devontae Adams, but there's only so much Devontae Adams can do on offense. And
yeah, he'll still get spammed. He'll get his. He'll be a fine fantasy asset. But just that whole team needs a complete reset, man. They are so talent bereft outside of what they used to have was they had very good skill players. Now they've gotten rid of a lot of those skill players. But outside of that, the trenches, the back end of their team, their depth was always garbage and why they always disappointed. We don't need to talk about Vegas anymore. Vegas sucks. Let's talk about the Bucks.
Yeah, let's talk about the Bucks. Let's talk about the Bucks. Okay, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you consider the Bucks to be a rebuilding franchise?
No, only because there's still like if we were talking about them doing a rebuild, they would have done a full tear down. They have not tore down that roster yet. There is still talent on the roster. I mean, they just signed Levante back for big money. That's not like a hey, let's get the number 1 pick next year type of move. The jokes write themselves. This is Bridge Baker time. I don't think that Kyle Trask has really done a ton to impress the coaching staff, and so they're bringing in a quarterback for competition. But unfortunately, I think Baker is. I mean, he's going to be just good enough to take what the offense is allowing him to do. They're probably going to be a middling team. I'm smelling another 8-9 season, but hell, Tom Brady just had an 8-9 season, so I guess it's not that bad.
Is that really what? Yeah, that was their record. They won the division though, but yeah.
Yeah, they were trash.
Okay. Wow, 8-9. Yeah, I remember when they lost to Carolina, just got ran all over. I was like, what the hell? That was earlier in the season.
Brady was cooked. He was cooked, unfortunately, and I hate to say it and I hate to see it, but that's what happens when you sell out for a 1-year rental of a franchise quarterback. So I'm actually kind of afraid of the Bucks because I feel like they're not bad enough to completely crater out, but they're certainly not good enough to contend. So I feel a couple seasons of middling football for them coming very soon.
And I think that we are going to end up seeing Trask this season because Baker just plays in a way that, especially if he's got to start for like more than 5 weeks, he just always seems to get himself into trouble and get hurt, just he holds onto the ball too long. And man. So I think we should start a segment. Like it's a yearly segment. It goes, where in the world is Blaine Gabbert? Because like that guy's still in the NFL.
I had
no idea. He was on the Bucks for a bit, wasn't he?
Yes, he was actually.
I feel like the reason I say that is because I feel like that's the Kyle Trask career path. It's like just be a clipboard hero or like the Charlie Whitehurst, The next Charlie Whitehurst.
Blaine Gabbert is finally a free agent this year.
He is
so
a free
I
agent.
know I know we got rid of him. I didn't know if he went anywhere else. But yeah, he was
I bet
our
he'll sign somewhere. He'll get signed somewhere.
he was Brady's clipboard holder for the entire time he was here. Yeah, I mean, he's well traveled.
So like, I feel like that'll end up being the Kyle Trask career of like just being able to barely slide into these rosters and be like a backup guy who just never really has to play much. And then he plays and maybe he has one good game and then goes right back to the bench where he belongs. And yeah, but I do think that the Bucs are going. I'm predicting that they will have to start Kyle Trask at some point this season, which will be fun.
I mean, and they should. Once they figure out that they're not going to contend for the division, they're probably not. Once they figure that out, I want to see what we have in him. I haven't given up on Trask yet. I don't want to cook a guy when we haven't even seen him touch a ball on the field yet. Like, I get that they're a little bit nervous about how his game has progressed, but he was always supposed to be a project. So I'd be down to see him. I want to see him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. My prediction is he's going to be very underwhelming. And that division is like, yeah, based on last year, it's kind of wide open, but I feel like Carolina's getting better, and whatever quarterback they end up taking is going to make them better. Not amazing, but better. And I think the Saints are going to be better. So, yeah. And then the Falcons are just, the depressing Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons are just run the ball regardless of situation. Run the ball no matter what, at all times, always and forever.
And they don't seem to have a plan past Desmond Ridder, who knows with that either. But third round prospects, they can work out every once in a blue moon. Desmond Ridder, I don't know. Not really much. We don't have much on him either. So
are you excited for the Thursday night double down?
No.
Me either. Talk to me about it.
I'm just going to talk about the quality of the game. I'll let you get into the ramifications and all that in terms of the NFL. It's a shame that they want to add more games that are poor quality. And it's always about money. We can establish that and just know the truth. It's always about money. Having more quote-unquote primetime games means more spots for ads and means more money. And that's what it comes down to. So it's a shame because it'll be more of a watered-down product. But degenerates like us that are hardcore into fantasy football and those who are into sports betting, I'm not the biggest sports bettor, but every so often I'll, dabble with it. That's what it's going to appeal to, because it's just more viewers that are going to watch no matter what. When the game is 31-3 with 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, and you've got a receiver on that losing team, you're still tuning in. A lot of people are still tuning in because they're like, man, I just want to see, whatever. You take your pick. I just really hope that DJ Moore gets this touchdown. It's garbage time. He can still score a touchdown. And that's what it is. So with that, tell me about your opinions on it.
First and foremost, how's my audio coming through?
You're good?
Okay, perfect. I know these things are about to die soon, so I guess I'll get out what I have to say. Nobody really cares what I think. I am just some random fantasy football player. I've never really been an athlete at any kind of level, and I'm making an internet show with my friend. I get it. Nobody really cares what I have to say, but I'm going to express my feelings anyway, like as a human.
I think the extra Thursday night football game is an absolute joke. They do a whole lot of lip service, they being the NFL, about player safety, and everybody goes into this safety protocol when it comes to concussions. Didn't really seem to be the case with Tua, but that's a separate conversation. I don't understand how every year the players get less power. I don't understand how that works. Every other league in the world, the players collectively bargain. Not every year, obviously, it happens, periodically, but every few years, the whole point of collective bargaining is the players are supposed to take more power from the owners. The NFL makes more TV money in America than anything else. The MLB makes a lot of money because they play a lot of games. But when it comes to TV ratings, the NFL is absolute king. These owners have an incredible inflation of the valuation of their franchises and the amount of money that these things generate because of sports betting, because of fantasy football players like you and me that are going to watch a terrible product on Thursday night, no matter what, because we have money on it, because we have emotional stake in the outcome of these games. We're going to watch it no matter what. So Bezos gets together with the rest of his billionaire buddies in the NFL and decide that, hey, we need more solo games. We need more island television coverage. But there is supposed to be a check and a balance to that. I understand that they want to make more money, but the PA, which is a powerless organization, obviously, full of puppets, are doing nothing to stop these owners just bleeding these players dry. You can't tell me that you care about the players and give them no time to rest. You can't tell me that you care about the players and force them to play an extremely violent game, the most violent game that there has ever been outside of the gladiatorial arena thousands of years ago. And then you do that on Sunday and you turn around and do it on Thursday. If you are not a quarterback, if you are not, quote unquote, the face of the league does not give a fuck about you. That is just the facts. They're trash for doing that. Well, one of the worst franchises in the NFL, one of the worst run franchises, is reportedly about to sell for $6 billion. And we're talking about Lamar Jackson's money. And we're talking about more Thursday night football games. That's what we're talking about. That's what you need to put more players in danger. Don't worry, folks. You can wear number 0 now to represent how many fucking healthy brain cells you have left. I'm done. That's the end of that rant. I wanted to get that out of my system, but obviously the NFL needs to stop talking about player safety because they clearly do not give a shit about it. And the real criminals here are DeMaurice Smith and the rest of the puppets in the PA, because they're the ones who are supposed to put a stop to it, and they obviously don't. That's how I feel.
All right, Paul. I'm gonna give you a little golf clap, because I love it when you're passionate about something, and you're generally a passionate guy. So
I'm sorry for raging.
No, don't be, man. I mean, that's how you truly feel, and that's great. I'm with you on that. I'm not like, I don't pity the players making millions of dollars for this mercenary sport that they play. But I agree with you, though, that I think what pisses you off more than anything, it is player safety, but it's also just the bold-faced lies that you're getting told. And they expect you to believe it. And when they put all these commercials on saying how much they care about, brain problems and, obviously just a lot of things that are like, we care about everybody, but they don't. They care about money. So that's just what it comes down to, man. You're right. And those NFL PA guys are Probably no different than certain lobbyists in Washington that are just collecting money based off bribes and whatnot. So it's a shame.
Yeah.
And I barely want to commit to watching one Thursday night football game, let alone two. You know, it's like, it's too much. And then what are they going to do? Like, people on the East Coast, like me and you, they're gonna what? They're gonna start the second game at 10:30. You know, you're gonna start watching a game on a school night at 10:30.
Friday productivity,
right? It's like, come on now. It's stupid, and hopefully the players and owners, well, probably not the owners because they're gonna make money off of it, but other people involved need to be like, yo, this is BS, and it's time to cut it out.
Like, it's okay that the owners and the NFL wants to make more TV money. That's okay. I understand why you want to make more money. It's a business. You're supposed to make more money for your shareholders. But that's why you have checks and balances. Businesses aren't going to have your best interests in mind. That's why you're supposed to have unions, which, by the way, that's a problem we have in our larger society outside of football.
Yeah. The crazy thing is,
but that's what they're supposed to be for.
Someone needs to fact check me on this. Please do. But I'm pretty sure the NFL is considered a nonprofit organization. Like, the team is not. The team is for profit, but the NFL as an umbrella organization, I believe, is considered a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, well, the word nonprofit is always a little bit deceptive. I always found it very weird. It's
for tax purposes.
Right. Technically, it's a nonprofit, but people still profit from it. Huh? What? Yeah, it's always been deceptive, and I can't pretend that I'm an expert to know exactly what all goes into that. But yes, hilarious that it's supposed to be a nonprofit when, these TV ratings and all that advertising money, it's going somewhere. It's going to the teams, and Roger Goodell doesn't fly private for no reason, so that money's going somewhere.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to even try to define any nonprofit and whatnot and whatever, but that's a good place to end it on a good little rant there. And dude, great episode, and we'll be back. I think next time we'll do some kind of draft content since the draft is like this month. Yeah, man. So it's not April Fool's Day. It's the day after April Fool's Day, which, by the way, I think April Fool's Day is like the worst, like, I guess, pseudo holiday, whatever you would call it, that we have on our calendar. It's like, it's the one day of the year that, like, you either make like the dumbest tweet or joke possible, and it's just like, I got you guys, or like you can just straight up lie to somebody and it's okay. Like, it's like, hey, we you won $1,000. Oh, no, you didn't. Ha ha ha. It's like, oh, well, thanks. Like, obviously, like, it's just a day that's okay for lying. I don't know who made it up, but I'm down on April Fools, but I am up on the draft that's coming up, and we need to do a mock, brother. Let's do a mock. Let's do a fantasy mock draft on this next episode. Mock draft. So yeah, man, we'll do something. We'll definitely do some kind of draft content. Some kind of draft, mock draft. I don't know if you want to do like a mock draft of the actual draft. You want to do like just the fantasy players and the receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends, whatever. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it. For sure. I will be prepared with some content coming into this next episode. I don't think there will be a reason for me to yell in this next episode, but maybe after the draft, we'll see. We'll see what the Colts and Bucks do. You might get another rager from me. There's always more rage inside of us. Yes, but I'm always mad. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. That's right. But social contract, not allowed. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out, bro. Peace out, peeps.